Hey everyone, and welcome to another deep dive. Today we're tackling a topic that I think will resonate with a lot of you: decision paralysis, and specifically how it affects individuals with autism.
Yeah, it's something that, we hear about a lot.
It is. It's that feeling of being so overwhelmed by choices that you just can't seem to make a decision. We're going to unpack why this happens, and more importantly, what we can all do to help.
And what's really interesting is that for people with autism, decision paralysis isn't just like being indecisive.
What?
It's much more complex than that.
Definitely.
It's really this perfect storm of sensory overload, anxiety about making the right choice,
Mhm.
and then also this deep need for structure that kind of clashes with the whole, unpredictable nature of decision making.
Okay, so it's way more than just like, oh, just pick a thing.
Yeah,
Can
exactly.
you give me an example of how that sensory overload kind of plays into this?
Sure. So imagine a child with autism who's trying to pick out a shirt.
Okay.
It might not be about, the color or the style,
Right.
but the way the different fabrics feel on their skin, that sensory input, you know,
Oh, yeah.
that can be so intense that it makes it really hard to even start making a choice.
Yeah, I hadn't thought about it that way. So it's not just too many choices. It's that each choice carries this whole other like layer of sensory information that could just be too much.
Exactly, exactly. And then on top of that, you add the anxiety about making mistakes, which often in individuals with autism is um, heightened.
Right.
And it's not just about maybe disappointing others. It's about that internal pressure to get things right, to stick to
Uh-uh.
those routines and structures that provide that sense of safety and predictability.
Yeah. I can definitely relate to that feeling of needing to make the perfect decision.
Right.
Like, even for something as simple as what I'm going to have for lunch, I sometimes overthink it. It sounds like for someone with autism, those everyday choices can feel like a lot more.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Think about it. Like unexpected choices disrupt that carefully crafted order.
Mm.
So even something like, if a friend suggests going to a new restaurant,
Oh, yeah.
that could trigger that paralysis because it's deviating from the plan.
This is all starting to click for me now, but there's another piece I'm curious about. You mentioned difficulty with abstract thinking.
Uh-huh.
How does that factor into decision paralysis?
Well, this is one that's often overlooked, but it's super crucial.
Okay.
Many autistic individuals, they really thrive on that concrete information,
Yeah.
and they might interpret things very literally. So weighing the pros and cons or like imagining future outcomes,
Yeah.
that can be really tough. Instead of a clear path to making a decision, they get kind of stuck in a loop of analysis, unable to move forward.
Oh, wow. So it's not just the like emotional aspects, it's also about the way the brain processes information, like literally how it makes sense of choices.
Exactly. And that's why understanding these kind of like underlying reasons is so important.
Yeah.
It's not about labeling someone as indecisive.
Yeah.
It's recognizing that there's this like whole world of experience and perception at play.
This has been eye-opening. But I'm eager to move from problem to solution. Like, what are some practical strategies that can help empower individuals with autism to overcome decision paralysis?
Oh, there are some really effective approaches out there.
Okay, good.
And they all revolve around making that whole decision-making process less overwhelming.
Okay.
One of the simplest is to just limit choices.
Yeah.
Instead of offering a whole bunch of options,
Right.
just narrow it down to 2 or 3 appealing choices.
Yeah.
And that it reduces the cognitive overload, right?
Yeah.
And it makes it feel less daunting.
So it's like giving someone like a curated menu
Yeah.
instead of the whole encyclopedia of dishes.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Are there any other strategies that can be helpful?
Absolutely. So visual supports, these can be incredibly powerful.
Right.
Think charts, pictures, or even like visual schedules.
Oh, cool.
Those tools make choices more concrete and less abstract, which can be super helpful, especially for those who really connect with visual information.
See, I hadn't considered how visual supports could address that abstract thinking challenge. That's really smart. What about situations where there isn't time to make like a whole visual aid?
Sure. Even then, you can use simple cues. Like, let's say a child wants to play on the swings, but there's a line.
Okay.
You could point to the kids ahead of them, then back to the child, and you're kind of showing them they get a turn next. You're bridging that gap between the waiting and then the concrete experience of swinging.
That's so smart. It's like giving them a visual roadmap.
Yeah.
What about setting time limits to prevent like the overthinking spiral?
Yeah.
How can we do that in a way that's supportive and not like pressuring?
Right. It's all about balance. You don't want to rush someone, but you also don't want them to, spiral. Using a visual timer can be really helpful.
Oh, so they can actually see the time ticking away.
Exactly.
I can see how that could be really helpful.
And you can frame it positively, like you have 5 minutes to pick a snack,
Yeah.
and then we can watch your favorite show.
Right.
It connects that decision to something positive.
Okay, so we've got limiting choices, visual supports, and time limits. Anything else?
Yeah, one more that I think is really crucial. Creating a safe space where mistakes are okay.
Yeah.
This can just really help reduce the fear and anxiety that's often tied to decision making.
Yeah, that's such a crucial point. It's about shifting the mindset from, I have to get this right, to, I can learn from this.
Yeah, exactly. And it's amazing how, like, even those small shifts
Yeah.
in our approach can make a huge difference.
Huge, yeah. I'm so ready to dive back into those strategies. Before the break, we were talking about creating that safe space for mistakes.
Yeah.
What does that actually look like, when we're actually doing it?
Well, it's about fostering an environment where trying new things, making choices
Uh-huh.
is encouraged, even if it doesn't lead to, that perfect outcome.
Right.
Think about it like this. You're working with a child who's learning to tie their shoes.
Okay.
They're going to make mistakes, get frustrated, maybe want to give up.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Right. And just like learning to tie shoes, mastering that decision making
Right.
takes practice
Absolutely.
and patience.
Yeah.
And as that supportive guide, you wouldn't criticize a child for fumbling with their laces.
Right.
You would encourage them to keep trying, celebrate the small wins, and gently guide them when they get stuck.
So it's about reframing those mistakes as
Yeah.
learning opportunities,
I gotcha.
as stepping stones
Yeah.
on the path to being able to make decisions for themselves.
Exactly. And this applies to, all sorts of decisions, big or small.
Right.
Like imagine you're helping someone choose what to wear for a social event.
Okay.
Instead of saying, that outfit doesn't match, you could say, hey, what do you think about trying this shirt with those pants? Let's see how it looks.
It's about offering guidance, I guess, without taking away their power to make the final decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And even if the final outfit isn't what you would have chosen,
Right.
the key is to focus on the process, the effort they put into making that decision.
Right.
You might say, I love how you experimented with different style. It's great to see you kind of exploring your own sense of fashion.
It's all about striking that balance, right, between giving support and encouraging them to, make their own choices.
You got it.
Yeah.
And that balance might look different for each person,
Right.
depending on their age, their level of support needs, and their specific, challenges with decision paralysis.
We've talked a lot about supporting individuals with autism, but how can we, take these ideas and create more inclusive environments for,
Yeah.
everyone?
That's such a good question because decision paralysis,
Yeah.
it's a universal human experience.
Yes.
They've all felt that.
Yeah.
Like overwhelmed by choices.
Oh, absolutely. Just thinking about all the decisions we make in a day can be
Right.
exhausting.
And so
Yeah.
by understanding those factors
Yeah.
that contribute to decision paralysis in autism,
Yeah.
we can develop a greater sense of empathy and compassion for anyone who struggles with making choices, whether they're on the spectrum or not.
So it's about recognizing that, something that might seem like a simple choice to one person could be a much bigger deal
Absolutely.
for someone else.
And that awareness can then lead to, more supportive actions.
Okay.
Think about how we design menus in restaurants.
Oh,
Instead of pages and pages of options, why not offer like a shorter menu
Right.
with a few curated choices?
Right.
And that could benefit everyone, especially those who just feel overwhelmed.
It's a great idea.
Yeah.
It's about making environments that are, accessible and welcoming
Yeah,
for everyone.
absolutely.
What about, are there other ways we can, use what we've learned
Yeah.
in everyday life?
Well, think about how we plan meetings at work.
Okay.
Instead of letting them just drag on and on,
Oh, yeah.
we could set clear agendas
Right.
and time frames, keep things focused
Makes sense.
and prevent decision fatigue.
That's so practical.
Yeah.
It benefits everyone.
Right. And it highlights how, embracing neurodiversity can actually lead to positive change for everyone.
Right.
The strategies that support individuals with autism can benefit all of us
Yeah.
in creating those more inclusive and supportive environments.
This has been such an eye-opening conversation. I feel
yeah.
like I'm seeing decision paralysis and, the people who experience it kind of in a whole new light.
I'm so glad.
It's interesting as we've been talking, I've been thinking about how much our own experiences
Yeah.
really shape how we see the world.
That's so true. And it makes me think about how important it is to, really challenge those assumptions that we make
Mm-hmm.
and to listen to
Yeah.
the experiences of others,
Right.
especially when those experiences are so different from our own.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what I love about like doing these deep dives. It's
Yeah.
not just about understanding, decision paralysis and autism.
Right.
It's about kind of broadening how we think about like what it means to be human.
Right.
To navigate a world that's just like full of choices and challenges.
I couldn't have said it better myself.
And as we wrap up,
Yeah.
I know you have one more thought to leave our listeners with.
I do. And I want to leave you with this the language we use
Okay.
to describe experiences like decision paralysis
Uh-huh.
can really have like a big impact
Yeah.
on how we see ourselves and others.
I'm intrigued. Tell me more.
Okay, so instead of labeling someone as indecisive,
Okay.
what if we acknowledged all those like complex factors
Right.
that might be at play? What if we said something like, hey, it seems like you're feeling a bit overwhelmed with all the choices right now.
Yeah.
Let's see if we can maybe simplify things a bit. It's subtle, but it can.
It can make a big difference.
It really can.
It's about moving away from like that judgment
Yeah.
and into a place of like empathy
Exactly.
and understanding.
And that understanding can be the key to
Yeah.
unlocking someone's potential.
This has been such an incredible conversation.
Good.
I feel like I have a whole new understanding of decision paralysis, not just in, autism, but as like this human thing that we all experience sometimes.
I'm so glad to hear that.
Yeah.
And I really hope that this deep dive has empowered you to approach these challenges with more compassion, creativity, and that willingness to see the world
Yeah.
through different lenses.
It really has. And to you, our listener, thank you so much for joining us on this exploration.
Yes, thank you.
We hope this deep dive has made you curious and given you some tools to, navigate all the complexities of decision making, not just for people with autism,
Right.
but for anyone who's feeling, overwhelmed by all the choices out there.
Absolutely.
Remember, even small shifts in how we see things can lead to big changes in the way we connect with ourselves and the world around us.
That's so true.
So keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.
Yes.
Until next time,